Thanks to the funders of Peril and Promise for supporting PBS Digital Studios. Imagine an American city that runs on 100% renewable energy. A town that's completely given up on fossil fuels and replaced them with wind and solar. What kind of town are you picturing? A big city like San Francisco? A sunny, hip oasis in the desert? Maybe a progressive village in Vermont? What about a city smack dab in the middle of a state known for oil and gas?
Probably not what you expected. Welcome to Georgetown, Texas. This is the mayor of Georgetown, Texas, Dale Ross.
Thank y'all for coming to Georgetown, the greatest city on planet Earth.
You know, I see why you say that. I like it here. You got a pretty town.
Georgetown is one of the first cities in the US to get 100% of their energy from renewable sources. But this is a bit of a surprise considering this city of nearly 70,000 is in a politically conservative region of a politically conservative state that is practically synonymous with oil and gas. Not exactly where you might expect to find a renewable energy success story.
All right, I have a personal question for you. Are you really secretly a Democrat?
No, I'm a proud Republican. You know, but at the national level, I mean, we have a Republican president, President Trump, but we couldn't differ more on environmental policy or energy policy.
Why are people surprised to find out that Georgetown, Texas is 100% renewable?
I just think the stereotype in the past has been renewable energy is this democratic or progressive or liberal concept. And why would a bunch of Republicans in the heart of oil and gas country even consider this? The reason? We did it based on it was a business decision. We let the facts dictate the best decision to the people that we were elected to serve.
Like many cities, Georgetown doesn't generate its own electricity. It buys electricity from companies that do. They're able to shop on the open market and find the best price for the energy that they need. Turns out the best deal for Georgetown was wind and solar from West Texas.
I think people expect or have this idea that renewables are more expensive. Maybe because are they new, are they unfamiliar? But is that true?
Absolutely not. And I think that's what you're seeing in the market right now is, say for example, wind energy selling for about $18 per megawatt versus coal, which is $25 a megawatt. So no, we're at a tipping point right now where the pricing favors renewables.
Most of the cost of renewables comes when you construct the turbine or install the solar panels. So it's less risky for renewable energy companies to finance and build these projects if a city like Georgetown agrees to buy that energy for, say, 20 years. But once they're built, the cost of operating wind and solar is not only pretty low, it doesn't change much. And to people like Dale Ross, that's important because it means the price of that electricity is stable for a long time.
We signed 25 and 20-year contracts, so they're contracted to give us that price for the next 20 and 25 years.
So that's like me going to the gas station on the corner, talking to the guy behind the desk, and we sign a contract that he's going to charge me today's gas prices for my car until 20 years down the road.
Perfect analogy, that's exactly right.
And I think, yeah, that sounds like a good business deal. I'll take that deal.
It is a good deal.
So Georgetown chose 100% renewable energy because it saves them money. But what does it really mean for a city to get 100% renewable energy? To answer that, we're gonna have to learn a little about the world's largest and most complex machine, the energy grid. Across the world, 7+ billion people have access to electricity, meaning the whole world is connected to a massive tangle of wires. In the US, electricity is distributed across 3 zones, one for the West, one for the East, and one for Texas. Why Texas has its own power grid is another story, but that is just so Texas. Historically, these zones grew from smaller grids in major cities, which simply joined up wherever it made sense. The point is, the system is all interconnected. No matter how it's made, all the electricity goes into the same big grid. It's like a big pool. A few people are pouring water in, and other people are drinking out of it. If you pay someone to add clean water to the pool, your share of water is clean, even if the water you end up drinking isn't totally clean. Except unlike clean or dirty water, there's no such thing as clean electrons or dirty electrons. You can't tell where they came from just by looking at them. So renewable energy is an accounting thing as much as it is a clean electrons thing. And that's why Georgetown can call itself 100% renewable, even though most of the actual electrons coming out of their wall sockets were probably generated by nearby natural gas or coal plants. Georgetown pays for as much renewable energy as it consumes, and so it's helping make that much more of the total energy on the grid renewable.
It doesn't have to be about the environment, but it's huge benefits. So why can't we win the economic argument? Because if we do that, then by default we're going to win the environmental argument. And you know, clean water and clean air, it's not a Republican or Democratic issue, it's an American issue. And I think everybody can come to the table and agree that cleaner air is better than dirtier air and cleaner water is better than dirtier water. It's not rocket science. This is our boy, Matson, sheriff.
He looks like a sheriff.
The most beautiful town square, not in only Texas, but the United States of America.
Little known fact, Georgetown, Texas is named for George Strait, the country star. Full of facts here.
We're at Mikey V's on the most beautiful town square in Texas. This is the only hot sauce shop in the state of Texas where the production of all these beautiful hot sauces are from 100% renewable energy, wind and solar.
It's a 100% renewable burn
Joe, you're tearing up. The green energy story is a very emotional story.
It's so beautiful. Do you think every town could go 100% renewable?
Maybe not 100%, but you can certainly increase the amount of renewable energy in your energy portfolio.
When you talk to other mayors, other Republican mayors, what are their reactions when they hear your story of Georgetown?
Well, they think it's remarkable, and they think that it took tremendous political courage to do this. And I just remind them, if you do the right thing and you make decisions based on facts, it's not that hard to do.
But even if cities and towns want to make the shift to similar renewable policies, there are still some roadblocks.
I think the biggest hindrance right now is if they're in a current contract that requires fossil fuels, then you have to let those contracts expire, or else you need to write a check to get out of them in order to transition to renewable energy.
In a way, some people are trapped using fossil fuels, at least for right now.
But I tell you what, I just encourage all the elected officials to do the right thing for their citizens, and don't be afraid to innovate, and most of all, don't be afraid to be a bold visionary leader.
Thanks a lot for having us in your town.
Come back anytime. Be sure to spend a lot of money on the most beautiful town square in the state of Texas before you leave.
I gotta go back to the hot sauce.
Go to the hot sauce place.
Major funding for this episode is provided by Dr. P. Roy and Diana T. Vagelos, with additional funding from Sue and Edgar Wackenheim III and the Marc Haas Foundation, in support of Peril and Promise, a public media initiative from WNET in New York, reporting on the stories of climate change and its solutions. Learn more at pbs.org/peril and promise. Hey guys, thanks for watching our latest video. We hope you consider subscribing, maybe click that little bell icon so that you get notified when we have a new video. And check out our Patreon page where you can help us not only make more videos, but make them even more carbon neutral and good for the climate than any other YouTube channel.